Since the release of the Elder God arrows, its upkeep had always been a topic of discussion. Initially, every arrow is consumed per hit splat. This was later changed to have a 33% chance to be consumed per hit splat. Jagex has made lots of improvements with the fletching process of these arrows, such as making the activity less tedious to do and having more bonuses like Tier 3 Ranger's Workroom and its Wisdom of Anima perk. Since the release of these arrows, I had always spent my skilling time gathering the materials and fletching the arrows until I reached 200 mil fletching. Even after 200 mil fletching, I continued making my own arrows. For the longest time, I struggled trying to consume that many arrows and rarely ever needed to go back to make more. This begs the question, how bad is it truly? Even during my hours of PvM, I find myself not worrying about my arrow stacks at all. Today I decided I'm gonna pay attention to my arrow stacks just to see how bad is it truly. Enough standing around, let's go find out. I'm gonna go do an hour of hard mode Vorkath. I usually use Jazz Dragonbait at Vorkath, and then switch Deathspore when Vorkath flies away, and then switch to 1 arrows against Samorico. Will 1000 Jazz Dragonbait arrows and 1001 arrows be enough for an hour?
Unlucky cupcake.
And that's how much arrows I have left. Other than a few hiccups, I was still able to secure 14 kills within my aura timer. Another type of content I love to do when it comes to PvM is Elite Dungeons, particularly Elite Dungeon 1. I will only use full arrows at the 3 bosses, and when I am running through the dungeon, I am using Deathspore arrows. This should result in consuming even less arrows an hour. Let's find out if 1000 full arrows is enough for 4 serial kills.
Fail. Fail.
Despite allowing my own hubris to consume me for failing multiple 1 cycles over stupid mistakes, I did use much less arrows as expected. Then finally, let's see how much arrows I can fletch. The hair cutting one, which is quite AFKable, took me about 16 minutes to get about 4,426 hair strands. For the next one with the power of Pack-Yak, this one is semi-AFKable but not really, but in 16 minutes I was able to get about 4,567 shards. The propellants, which is not as AFKable, in about 15 minutes I got about 4,930 propellants. I remember during my Bang Pin Locked Challenge video, I was able to collect about 19,000 propellants in an hour. Now let's take all these materials to Fort Ferinthy and get fletching. I'm gonna assume I have the anima from all the PvM or AFK content I do. Besides, they are dirt cheap to buy from the Grand Exchange. For irons, the anima gathering will be more difficult and will take more time if you don't do any activities that give you anima. Because I am a main, I will be using a portable fletcher as well as any other bonuses. With just a little over an hour spent making them, let's head back for some conclusions. This is the current price of the arrows for comparison at the time of recording. As a mainscaper, I argue because you can make way more arrows than you can consume, it is technically sustainable. This will also depend on how often you spend time skilling versus how often you PvM. And if you're an iron, you lose out on portable fletcher, and anima farming might be more problematic. If you want my personal opinion, I think the state it is in is a good balance between skillers profiting from it and the consumption rate. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Feel free to let me know why in the comments. A few closing things to mention. Jazz Demon Bane arrows will take more time, and it's also more expensive to make because it requires you to tune Jazz Dragon Bane into Jazz Demon Bane, which also requires Astro and Earth runes. This puts Jazz Demon Bane in a bad spot, despite it being used less often than Dragon Bane. Deathspore and Splintering arrows can technically be obtained AFK from skilling, but that will also depend on how often you AFK skill with them, and if you even have the offhands. Otherwise, you can be me and just buy them and rarely ever consume them. Blackstone arrows looks pricey, but because of how niche it is, and you only consume it 15 times at a boss when you need it, it doesn't seem too bad either. And that wraps up the video. I am planning more range topics video in the future. If you enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.